So after thinking a long time about the sort of content that I've been putting out on my channel, and considering that I am very much transitioning into sort of the next part of my career as not just a PhD student, but transitioning into like a budding therapist, I wanted to make sure that the kind of content that I'm putting out is transitioning along with me. And so I decided that it would be probably really helpful for you all if I could interview some folks who not only have been on this journey with me, but also are at different points in their journey, are taking slightly different paths than I am. Because there is like so much more to getting a PhD in clinical psychology than I myself can like sort of convey to you through my own experience. And so one of the ways I thought would be great to do that is if I interviewed people. And so this is going to be my first interview in this series. I'm not really sure if I'm going to try to give a name to this series or not yet, but today I'm going to be interviewing one of my cohort mates, one of my lab mates. We have been right along with each other in this program on this journey, and she is one of the very few people that I know of in my program who is pursuing a primarily academic career, and doing that in a clinical psychology PhD program might look very different from someone who is pursuing a primarily clinical career. And so I thought, who better to tell you about what that might be like than her, because I have been getting a lot of questions both in my comments and through my private messages from folks who really want to know like what they should do if they want to go primarily into research, which is not really a question that I myself can answer because I am not someone who really wants to focus on research. I would love to be able to do both, but that is not where like my priorities lie. So the rest of this video is going to be my interview with her. And I hope you all find it really informative and really helpful. Hey, hello, my name is JoJo and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. All right, hi.
Hi.
Thanks again for agreeing to be interviewed on my channel.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
Thanks. So yeah, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Say whatever you feel like is worth knowing about you.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. My name is Chantel. I'm currently on internship at a VA, and I am pursuing an academic career. And my research interests and also my clinical interests are in trauma and substance use.
Yes. So Chantel and I are in the same lab. We have the same research advisor, and she's in my cohort. So we've pretty much been on the same journey together since day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feels like it's been so long.
Yes, 6 years.
Oh my God. But she's graduating this year and leaving me.
Yes.
It's been a time.
Yeah. It's been a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, just I guess we can start with just like your introduction into psychology, like how you decided you wanted to do a PhD. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my introduction to psychology was more of an accident. I went to undergrad as pre-med with a focus on going into medicine. A lot of it was cultural. A lot of it was like my parents kind of, when I was a kid, I said I really like science, and they were like, okay, great, you're going to be a doctor. Kind of like they didn't really understand there's other careers associated with liking science.
Yeah.
And so I went to undergrad and started taking some psychology courses as they were part of my major. And I ended up like loving them. I ended up kind of just like, being more excited to go to those classes than like my chemistry, biology, physics courses. I also just like studying for them. Like it was just a very different experience. And then I would see the lives of my professors and I was like, I kind of want to do this. Like I kind of want to be able to like, teach my classes, mentor students, conduct research. And it was kind of like the life that I liked, that I thought I liked when I was in undergrad. At the same time, I was also kind of juggling this decision and I also volunteered at the hospital in the city where I was kind of getting my bachelor's, and I like well, it was fine. And I didn't mind being in a hospital setting, but it's not something that like I felt very invigorated by. Whereas when I would go into my courses, I was much more excited. So then I last year of college, I was like, you know what, I want to go and get my doctorate in clinical psychology. I had some research experience in undergrad, but I know that I needed more because I wanted to go into a PhD program. So I worked full time in research. I was an RA for research study, and I worked part time for 1 year, then full time for 3 years. So basically, I had like 4 years of research experience before I went to grad school. Um, yeah, and that was basically my pathway to grad school.
Oh, oh my God. I've never realized just like how similar our stories are.
Really?
Being pre-med and then finally like in the last year deciding like no, I actually want to do psychology because like I loved those classes so much more, and like
Yeah.
organic chemistry in particular. I was like I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, can you talk a little bit about like being a research assistant without being like in grad school already? Because I've also like folks have asked me
Yeah.
about like how to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So I was so a lot of studies, they need people who work full time on these different studies to either like project coordinate or to collect data or to analyze,
Mm-hmm.
to just basically do the different things of what the study needs at the time. And so I kind of went online. I went to the different institutions in the area that I was living in to kind of see if they had any openings. And I joined the lab, and I was there 40 hours a week, running participants, collecting data. A lot of what we were doing was recruiting new participants. And so a lot of my time was spent kind of completing phone screeners, you know, making sure the participants met inclusion criteria, things like that. So it was a lot of like coordinating data collection. And then once we kind of got things going, then the PI of the lab, wanted us to kind of also analyze your own data. And so that's kind of what happened later on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but honestly, I would really just look online, and you'll be able to find a lot of opportunities. And this was also paid. So you can also find a lot of unpaid opportunities too. That is less online. You kind of have to just find people and email them and see if they'll take you on. But this was like a formal job.
Okay. Do you feel like you ran into any difficulties because you weren't a student at that time?
No, no, not at all. I think it's pretty normal to have kind of people, especially like post their bachelor studies, to kind of do this, full-time research work, research assistant, research associate work. And I know a lot of universities will want people like that, especially who want to go into like doctoral programs too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's a great opportunity. Like I feel like because I did that, grad school for me was like much smoother, I feel like, than others who didn't have that research experience.
Mm-hmm.
This things kind of, I did all that beforehand, and it was just kind of gave me the leg up when I went into grad school.
Right. Yeah. So you knew pretty much right away that like academia was sort of the path you wanted to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew like, yeah, pretty early on. I kind of like when I first started seeing patients in grad school, I was like, oh, like, I really like this. Like, this could be fun. Like, how can I integrate this into my schedule? And now doing 100% clinical work this year, I'm kind of like, really miss like my research. Like, I really miss like, just like running my analyses. And so, like, trying to really find a career that I can do both.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of create a schedule where however much of the time I want to focus on research, I can, and however much of the time that I want to focus on clinical work, I can. I'm not just kind of like boxed into one job or activity.
Right. What was it about research that you loved so much or still love?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like it's a great question that I think I ask myself every day, that I don't fully know the answer to, but there is something about one collaboration of like coming together with other like-minded people
Mm-hmm.
who want to, ask and answer the same questions that you have, who have the same passions about mental health and like addressing different disparities in mental health, that like is kind of, really energizes me. And on the other hand too, it's like I feel like I'm in this constant state of learning. Like I feel like I will never reach a point where I am, and I know this is kind of counterintuitive to what a PhD is, like you become an expert, but I really feel in research there is no really level of expertise. Like you're constantly engaging in this process of learning. And this also, like, you have to be really humble about what you know and what you don't know. And so, like, I really value that part about research, and it's like very aligned with who I am as a person. So I think that's what really like speaks to me as a whole.
Oh my God, that was so beautifully said. If someone asked me that, I'd probably be fumbling all over the place. But I think that just speaks to like how passionate you really are about the work
Yeah.
that you do. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've seen some of your work. Like I said, we work in the same lab, and I'm so inspired by you all the time.
Oh, thanks, JoJo.
Um, so yeah, I mean, we're in this program, we have spoken a little bit about what kind of emphasis the program places on clinical work versus research. So yeah, maybe you can speak a little bit to like what it has been like in our program, trying to like in our program as someone who wants to pursue a more sort of academic, maybe more
Yeah.
balanced career.
Yes. It's been hard. It's been very challenging. It's really required me to like seek opportunities outside of the school that we're at, um, in order to get that like additional research training, to get that experience. Our school, like, yes, they provide those opportunities, but they are like for me to go into an academic position after graduation, I would have need to do a lot more than what the school provides.
Right.
And so also felt like I was like wearing a million hats during grad school and doing like like 10 times more of the things that I need to be doing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the cost. So it's like I feel like I'm getting really, really good clinical training at the school. And also I needed to find ways to supplement that to get really good research training.
Right. Yeah. So what does that look like for you? Like how have you been supplementing that research training?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I applied for research fellowships. And so there was this research fellowship that kind of was multi-institution that was focused on, substance use, because that's the area of my research is addiction. And so I kind of luckily got that research fellowship, and I had these fellowship meetings that happened once a week. That a lot of it was didactics of like learning about this, academic career. What do you need for your project? Where are you going in the field? Also, a big part of it is like learning how to write a grant. And so, like, I wrote a grant during that time in my fellowship period, and then I also submitted the grant, and then I got funded, which is exciting. And so, a lot of it was like kind of learning the different skills needed to be an independent researcher. And so that was kind of one thing. In addition, also just like going to our mentor and saying like, this is what I want to do. Like, I need help getting to this. Who can you connect me to? Or like, if you know of a project that I would be a good fit for, that's like outside of the university. And like, she has been really great in connecting me to other people across the US who are doing similar work. Trying to think of what else I've done. I also like worked part-time in research during grad school. So I was a project coordinator. That was part-time for a study that's not at our school, at another school, just because I wanted more of that experience. I wanted more opportunities. I wanted the greater possibility to like network with people. So I also did that. I think at like one semester, I had like 5 different jobs that were just, yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And you were also like presenting a lot at conferences.
Yes, I was going to conferences. I think at 2 conferences per year I was presenting. And then kind of my strategy is like I would present at a conference, and then that paper I would try to make, or that, research that I presented at a conference, I tried to make it into a paper. So I tried to, be strategic in with my efforts.
If you had to guess about how many conferences or how many presentations slash papers do you think you have?
Oh, from the start of grad school?
Yeah, from the start of grad school.
Um, First author?
No, 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 not first author. General.
In general, I think probably have like 20 to 25 like conference presentations to papers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know I have way more presentations than papers, but yeah, I would say it's about 20 to 25.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that that's like what's sort of expected for someone who wants to go into academia, or?
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say like you would as many presentations and papers as you can get, the better. Yeah, I don't know if there's a specific number, but yeah, just try to get on any papers, like reach out to people, collaborate with people, try to do whatever you can to be competitive.
It's a lot of work and like a lot of like initiative taking that you have to do.
Yeah, a lot of like reaching out, a lot of putting yourself out there, like, and also being okay with people not responding. Yeah, it's difficult. Like you really have to just be okay with also like, rejections, failure. You have to just be like, okay, well, that just didn't happen. Where can I go next? And it does get tiring, I will say that. And like I did at the end of grad school, I felt totally burnt out. Like I was just a total zombie. And then once I came to internship where things really slowed down, like I'm like regaining a new sense of like peace in life and enjoyment, which is nice and something that I didn't realize I needed. But I'm also grateful that I did work really, really hard during grad school and like I kind of set myself up for, to be in a good position now.
Yeah. Speaking of leaving grad school, you're like in the process of applying to postdocs, and I don't want to like put you on the spot and ask like how is it going, but like tell me what that process has been like.
Yeah. So that process is very challenging, especially with the type of research work that I do, mainly focused on DEI given the current climate right now. So it's difficult. And with the cut in funding of a lot of postdocs and just grant funding, things that were open have now been closed. So it's not so easy. And I'm also at the same time applying for the assistant professor on the, tenure track assistant professor job market as well. So I decided to do both, try it out to see, if I could get a research postdoc to gain more training. And also at the same time, like, if I'm applying, like might as well just submit an extra application to a tenure track position. And I will say that it's difficult. It's a lot of my mentors are kind of like, you're a very strong candidate. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's the timing. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
And also, I'm only limiting myself to one specific geographic area. People have a lot more success kind of being willing to, move across the country. And that's just not in the cards for us right now. And so that's the other thing too, is like limiting it to geographic location only limits all of your opportunities.
Right. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah, especially with like everything going on politically right now and this new administration. It's really taken a toll on institutions across the board.
Yes, has taken a toll in a lot of ways. And we just need to figure out how to work with it and resist.
Yes, resist. Yeah. But I'm sure, as all of your mentors have said, you are amazing and you're a really strong candidate. So I have no doubt that like you'll find something very soon.
Yeah.
What would you say is like maybe like your best piece of advice, or like just any sort of important piece of advice that you would give someone who is coming into a PhD program wanting to pursue academia?
I don't know. I don't want to, it sounds like really basic, but like, don't give up. But no, like really, it's not easy. Like academic positions also, like it's not like every year there's like, 1,000 positions open. Like, there might be one or two. So it is a very competitive market to be in, job market to be in. And also it's like a long road. Like, like it's not like you get one grant and then you're done, or you publish one paper and then you've like accomplished. Like you gotta have to always be in this process of like building and growing, thinking and growing. And like, you know, if that's something that like really excites you, that's something that you're like, yeah, I could do that for the rest of my life. This really fits with my personality. Then by all means, like do it. Like you're gonna excel. If there's any part of you where it's like, I am gonna get tired. Maybe you just want to teach, and that's fine. Like, how can you kind of create a schedule or find a combination of, different parts of your job that includes maybe this mentoring and teaching and being involved in students and also like clinical work. I think that's the one thing about psychology that I love so much is that like it's so flexible with what you can do.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe this is my long-winded answer, but my one kind of advice is like be flexible and be open and like try something new.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And don't give up.
And don't give up. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have any more questions. Was there anything else that like you thought maybe we should cover? I mean, this is your area of expertise.
Reach out to your mentors, don't be afraid to ask for help. Yeah. That's all I have.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And I'll see you at some point soon.
No, I know. Okay, take care.
Hey, editing JoJo here. So clearly I forgot to record an outro, but yeah, I really hope that you found that interview interesting and helpful. Definitely, like if you have any more questions for Chantel that we weren't able to get to in our interview, please leave them down below in the comments and I will relay them to her and we'll get you responses as soon as I can. But yeah, as usual, thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I truly appreciate it. Leave me a comment, like I said, down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. And as always, like, share, and subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.